Hi, my name's Jack. Welcome to the Math Party. My name is Jack Hall, and I've been working for about the last 30 years tutoring Gateway Math for El Paso Community College. When I say Gateway Math, I mean those math skills that are necessary for one to understand college level math. Okay, well, let's get into today's lesson. Today's lesson I like to call a calculator you carry in your brain. Okay. Now, algebraic equations. The way to solve algebraic equations is to put all the letters on one side of the equal sign, put all the numbers on the other side. This is what I'm talking about here. Say we have, 3x plus 6 equals 18. Okay, well, we've got all of our x's are on the left-hand side of the equal sign. That's where I'm going to leave them. I'm going to move the 6 by breaking what's holding the 6 on the left-hand side of the equal sign, and that is the plus sign. Okay, I break plus by doing the opposite of plus. I do minus, and if we look at it as a math problem, 6 minus 6 is 0. Anything minus itself is 0. So all we have left here on the left-hand side of the equal sign is 3x. Over here on the right-hand side, we have to take away 6 to keep the equation in balance. We take away 6 from the left-hand side. We got to do the same thing on the right-hand side. And 18 minus 6 is 12. Okay. Now, you notice I broke the plus that was holding the 6 on the left-hand side of the equal sign by doing minus, and doing it on the other side, minus 6 minus 6. Well, the 3 is held to the x by the power of multiplication. I know that because there's no plus or minus in between them, and there's no fraction bar, which would indicate division. So it has to be multiplication, and we break multiplication by doing the opposite of multiplication. We do division. Okay, over here on the left-hand side, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is x. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So x is 4. If I were to graph this answer, I would put it on the x-axis. X-axis is left-right movement, or if you're looking at a map, it would be east-west movement. And see, there's 4 right there. Oops, this one is 5. That one was 4. There we go. And it goes right there, and that's it. That's the only part of this line that takes up. You see, here's the negative numbers over here. We don't need them because our answer is positive. But just to let you know where they are, that's where they are. Okay, now this is a basic equation with one variable. Okay, let's see what happens if we have two variables. Alrighty, so say we have 3x plus 6y equals 18. Okay, now if I do the same thing I did last time, minus 6, it would be minus 6y instead of minus 6. So when I took minus 6y over to the left-hand side here, I would not be able to subtract it. Before you can add or subtract letters and numbers, they have to have the same letters to the same power. Okay, like if you were to try to subtract x from x squared minus x, guess what your answer is going to be? X squared minus x. You cannot subtract those two. Okay, I would get more into it in a later lesson. For right now, let's not worry about that yet. Let me go ahead and just erase that. That's just a part of the lesson you needed to know. You can't take letters from letters unless the letters are the same and they have the same power. Okay, anyway. Well, I still need to solve this thing. But what we need to do is play, well, I call it play what if. I'm going to make a table of values. That's what this thing is called. And we're just going to pick a number for one of the letters. I'm going to pick a 0 for x. Why? Because I feel like it. 0 is easy, and I like x. That's it, really. That is all of the mathematical reason I need. In other words, I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation, but instead of using an x, I'm going to use a 0 instead of x and see what happens. And you see 3 times 0 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So all we have left is 6y equals 18. I'm going to break the multiplication, holding the 6 to the y by doing the opposite of multiplication, doing division. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times y is y. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So what this means is when x is 0, y is 3. See what I mean? What if? Well, now we're going to play what if. What if y was 0? Here, let me erase this stuff right here, and we're going to go ahead and do that again. Only instead of using a 0 for x, we're going to use a 0 for y. There we go. And I use zeros primarily because they're easy. The other reason I use zeros is because those will show us the intercepts. See, when I put in a 0 for x, what it will show me is where the line is going to cross the y-axis. When I put in a 0 for y, it will show me where it's going to cross the x-axis. And don't worry about what that means. You'll see as soon as we start graphing. Okay, now here 6 times 0 is 0. So it's gone out of here. All we have left is 6x. And bring down that equals 18, break the multiplication, holding the 3 to the x, so that we can isolate the x, and x equals 6, because 18 divided by 3 is 6. Boom, there we go. We have 2 points. To graph, sometimes better to have 3 points, but the space on this little internet whiteboard is limited, so we're just going to leave it at those 2. And let me go ahead and just erase this stuff here. There we go. Okay. We have 2 of what are called ordered pairs. Now, an ordered pair is an x coordinate first and then a y coordinate. Say x, comma, y. 0, 3, 6, 0. Okay. What we're going to do with these is those are coordinates, and we're going to use them on the Cartesian coordinate system. Here's our y-axis. It goes north and south if we're looking at it like a map, or forward and backward if we're just looking at it in a two-dimensional sort of way. This one's going to be left and right, and that's our x-axis. That's our good old number line, just like we used a couple minutes ago to plot that 1 point that x stood for in a one variable equation. Here, since we have 2 variables, it's x and y. I'm no artist, but this kind of annoys me. I'm going to make this a little bit straighter. I would use that ruler thingy, but don't know how to use the ruler thing, so I'm not going to. I'm going to just try and freehand it. Okay, come on, straight. Hey, not bad for me. Okay, that's our y-axis. Now, we're going to plot the point 0, 3. In other words, x is 0, so we stay right there, dead smack in the middle. And we go up 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I know I don't have any numbers on my lines here, but positive numbers from 0, 0, which is right dead smack in the middle. Positive numbers go up and to the right. Negative numbers go down and to the left. And that's just where you find them. This one is 0, 3. X is 0, so no left to right movement. Y is 3. Notice that is directly on the y-axis. Okay. And the next one's x is 6, so that's going to be right over here somewhere. Y is 0, so that means this is directly on the x-axis. And our line passes through at those points. This is why these are called the intercepts. The one on the y line is the y-intercept, the one on the x line is the x-intercept. Okay, so our y-intercept, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and label it. Our y-intercept is 0, 3. X is 0, y is 3. Our x-intercept is 6, 0. Just like that, and there's our line. Now, this line has a slope. The slope is how you get from one point on the line to another point on the line without using diagonal movement, only using up, down, and left, right. Okay, let's see. Now, slope, they use the letter M to stand for slope. And like I said, all that means is a ratio of up-down movement over left-right movement, and it is how you get from one point to another point without using diagonal movement. Now, if you have to go up, that's on the top of the ratio, and it's positive. Okay, if you have to go down, that's also on top of the ratio, but that's a negative number. If you go to the right, it's positive. If you go to the left, it's negative. Okay, so let's see how we get from this point 0.03 to this other point 0.60. Well, first thing we have to do is go down 3 spaces to get to 0, and down is minus. Then we go 6 spaces to the right. Well, going to the left and the right, that's on the bottom of the ratio. We're going to go 6 spaces, and it's positive. Okay, which means goes to the right. And this is -1/2. There we go. Just notice my other arrowhead was below my usable space on this whiteboard here. Anyway, okay, so our slope here is -1/2. In other words, to get from one point to the next point on this line, we go down 1, 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right. Okay, and that's how you read slope, which is M. Okay, this is the long drawn out way. Okay, what I really wanted to show you in this lesson is how to do it the easy way. Okay, how to make the numbers do the work for you. And this is one of my favorite formulas. This is a calculator you carry in your head. Let me go ahead and clear the whiteboard here. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. We go ahead and write down our equation again. 3x plus 6y equals 18. Okay, and my favorite formula of all time, y equals mx plus b. What this formula means is if I arrange any equation that has two different variables, both to the first power, and I arrange them to where one of the variables is alone and positive, the y coordinate is alone and positive, on one side of the equal sign, the number that ends up in front of the x will be the slope, and the number that ends up on the end with no x or y. And if there is no number without an x or y, then it's 0. That will be the y-intercept, where the line actually crosses the y-axis. And we saw that graphed out here just a second ago, but let me show you how it works here. All right, 3x plus 6y equals 18. What I'm going to do is solve for y. In other words, I'm going to get rid of this thing that has an x. If you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other. Minus 3x minus, 3x minus 3x is 0. Only thing we have left here on the left-hand side is our 6y. Bring an equal sign, and now I'm going to wedge this minus 3x just to the left of that 18, positive 18. In other words, I'm just going to scoot it over and fit it in, mainly because y equals mx plus b, the m term is next. Alrighty, so let's see. Okay, we've got the y term isolated, but there's still a number in front of it. Let's get rid of this number. This is a 6. Let's get rid of the 6 by just dividing it away, breaking the multiplication. It's holding it to y. But if we do it to 1, we got to do it to all other words. And if we don't, then the equation no longer means the same thing. In other words, it's wrong. All right, 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times y is y. Here, just reduce the fraction. Negative 3/6 is the same thing as negative 1/2. X, positive 18 divided by positive 6 is positive 3. Now, I can graph using this right here. I don't have to use the table of values or anything. Watch this. Here's my y-axis. Here's my x-axis. This is also why I use the same equation twice. Okay, you remember that last one? Y-intercept was at positive 3. Just like it is right here. You see, I call this thing, this is the y-intercept. But I have another name for it. I call it starting point. Okay. So I start from here. This is an actual point on the line. So you can use the slope to find any point on the line, because from any point, all you have to do is go down 1 and 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right. Now this time we were able to find the x-intercept also, just by going down 1, 2 to the right. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes we just go right past that x-intercept, but you just stop right there at the y-intercept, and guess what? Look at that. We just graphed a line without having to do the table of values or anything. Graphed a line, found the y-intercept, and found the slope using a calculator we can carry in our heads. This y equals mx plus b. All right, well, thank you very much. You take care and have fun doing math, and I will see you in just a little while when I make my next video. Take care and stay healthy.